Okay, so in this video, we'll be working on the hands. So what we are going to do is we're going to do something called drawing substitutions, right? We're going to create all the drawings on the same drawing layer, but we're going to create different shapes like we did for the eye, right? So I just created this quick sketch of hands. I'm going to add it to the files that if you want to use this to follow along, I'm going to add a link to it. So, and also, there's another way I like to raise my hand. There are some assets that you can get on Gumroad. So I found one from I think Fabio. It has hands and I think foot in them, and it might not be the same as yours. The feet I think is wearing a shoe or something, but the hands I think it can be applied to everything. So you can use that, and instead of having to draw everything, you can bring in a hand rig, try and copy some, and maybe edit it. But now let us see how we're going to do this. So with this done, I'm just going to place it just around where the hands are. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring it in front of everything. So I think that's your reference. And it's quite far behind. So I'm going to bring it in front so I can see what I'm drawing, right? I'm using this circle as a guide for me to be able to place it somewhere. Okay, so I think this is okay. I'm making sure I'm working on the hands, making sure I'm working on the line art. As we come to the library here, you can see we only have one drawing substitution, empty and one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to this option here. I'm going to create an empty drawing. So now we have to there's nothing there. So using my line and my color line, I'm just going to create a shape. And look, this is not a perfect handout. This is just for your purposes. You can do your own sketches if you want. So just like that. We're going to follow the lines that I filtered for myself. We are going to copy some elements from the old hand to help us with this hand, right? And now I'm going to do that shortly so you see what I'm talking about. Alright, so let me check it out in the brain. See, okay. I don't think this is okay. You can edit it and tweak it to your own. One thing I realize I'm not really good at is drawing hands. So, so assuming this is it. So assuming this your hand, I'm just gonna go back to the other drawing. The only thing I need from this drawing is a hand here. I need this arc here. But I need it to be constant with all the drawings. I'm gonna come back to this and I'm going to place this where I come to the drawing. This is what I have. So I try to make sure they are all in line with that because that's the rotation point you're going to use. So once you have that, so once you have that, let me turn off the reference. So that's all we have. So now I can easily change between that hand and this hand. I just need to fill it with color. I need to do all the cutting. So I'm just gonna continue with the rest of the shape and then I'll fill it with the color. So make sure you're always drawing on the liner. So once you're done, I can just come here and move it, holding down my shape key and move it to and keep it there. That I just keep doing. So once you bring it there, make sure you select it, the drawing. Make sure it's selected and you click another entity. Make sure it's created before you start drawing. Alright, so let us just continue our drawing. Alright, so like I said, it's not going to be perfect since I already have my hand template that it took me a while to create, so I'm going to use that in this. Alright, so that's going to create another substitution. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this few substitutions. So in case you have more, you can do that. Like I said, I already have hands that I'm going to use. Alright, so quick tip with the hands. Assuming you want to create something like this, a face like this, and sometimes you need some objects to interact with the face. So you want the object, the hands or the fingers to wrap around the face. You might want to do your rig like this. So I just created this hand quickly from the drawing. So I go to where my hand is. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce a line art and an overlay art, right? Okay, so I don't need to connect it. So now I connect it to this. I'm just gonna bring down the name so that how small this size is. Alright, so with that, I'm also going to add in a composite. Right, I'm going to add in a composite. So I'm going to put my overlay in front of my line art. Yes. I'm going to put my overlay in front of my line art. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this out, put it in here, right? So my overlay is in front of my line art, right? My overlay is always in front of my line art. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate this hand. So this part of the hand where I know it's going to wrap around. What I'm going to do, I'm going to cut it, right? Come to the drawing. And I'm going to place that one on the overlay, right? As you can see, I'm going to place it right here on the overlay, right? So we'll have that on the overlay. So after that, I'm going to go to my line art, the drawing line art, and I'm going to create a color art from this, right? So I'm going to create the color art from this, and now I'm going to fill it with color. So now I'm on the line art, come to the color art, and I'm going to fill it with the same color, right? So after that, I'll go to the overlay, but this time I'm going to fill the color on the overlay, right? So now this is what we have, and it doesn't seem to be anything different. But assuming, let's say I put in an object, let's say I put in another drawing. Let's say we created a stick that the character is supposed to hold, right? So assuming we created a stick that the character is supposed to hold, right? So I'm going to plug it just behind the overlay. Let me just create something for the stick. Just use my raw. That's this. This is this. So assuming that I'm done with the mouse for this. Assuming we created a stick, right? Let me just fill it with any color. I'm putting it on the liner. Assuming we created a stick, right? Fill it with color. So now, if you pay attention, you can see it is just behind it, which makes it look like he's actually grabbing it, right? So you can actually move it around a little bit, which makes it look like he's actually grabbing it. So you just have to draw your hand properly. So yeah, that's another way to go, but I wouldn't be using that. Okay, right, so go. So now that we are done with the various shapes for the hand, let us just fill it with color. So I'm just going to go through the timeline, and I'm just going to be taking the color art from the line art, and I click through this and see I don't know how it's done. Alright, so let us now come to the color art. Make sure you're using the right color and fill it in with color. So let me just turn off my reference so we can see what we did. And once I use the drawing substitution, I just move it. We have it. And because we've already done the auto patching and overlapping and everything, it works seamlessly. I think the hands and everything seems to work seamlessly. Right. Okay, so in case you created a drawing and you don't want that drawing to be part of your drawing substitution, just make sure you're on that drawing substitution. Go to your X sheet. If you can't find, just press the plus icon here and search for X sheet, right? So once you have the X sheet, just click, go through it, you find it highlighted. You select that drawing, you right click, go to drawing, and go to delete selected drawing. So now when you come to your library, your drawing substitution is not included, right? So I took out that drawing. Okay, alright, so because this worked, it was we synchronize these two hands. Whatever I did here affected the other hand. So I don't need to do any drawing substitutions again for this hand. So if I could go through this, other part of the hand and I just go through, we have them all filtered, right? So we are good. So now that we have that filter, let us do the foot. So with the foot, what is it? I have my reference. Let me just turn on the reference and just like we did with the hands, we're just gonna place that right there. Just gonna try and match it to the center and we start done. So just like we did with the hands, let us start with this. So I'm just gonna skip through this quickly. So you select your line color, make sure you're on the foot. You create an empty drawing. So now you can start doing our drawing. So as you can see, we have everything. So now we can change our shape based on the position of the leg. So like it happened with your hands because we synchronize these two, it applies to the now we have with this. I don't have to use it. So let me just do some so just to be Alright, so and just like that, you have your hands and if you test it out, it will fit. Right? The same with the feet. It will. Because we have everything works. Okay. I think we're good. Perfect. So The next thing you're going to do is you're going to create deformers for almost all the shapes, right? The reason why we're creating the deformers is if I should turn on or turn around that you're using, right? You see, there are some shapes that are quite different from this, so we need to kind of distort and deform hence why we are creating the deformers. Right? So we're going to create deformers for almost everything. the, the only places that the only places that we might not create the deformers will probably be the hands and the feet, right? So let us start creating the deformers. So this is what I'm going to do with creating our deformers, right? So now that we are done with that, let us create the deformers for the hair. And see, when I want to create a deformer for the hair, and as we all know, the hair is quite big. It's not just this part that we see that is cut here. So what we are going to do is, if you need to see any parts of the drawing that you can find, assuming I'm outside here, I select the hair. I want to go straight to the hair. Just make sure my node view is highlighted and I press O on a keyboard. It's going to take me to that place. And using the 2 for zooming in and 1 on the keyboard for zooming out, right? So now I have the hair. What I'm going to do is I come to my camera. If you don't have it, just flash and find where the camera is. It should be here, right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add what we call a display node, right? So come to my node view and add a display node. So now I plug this in, right? So this is display. Okay, so I'm gonna find this. Alright, so I plug in that display. What I'm trying to tell the computer to do is whenever I come here and I click on that name of the display, it should show me just that part. So as you can see, it's just that part. Right. So now I'm going to select this. Come to the hammer icon of the deformer. If you don't have the deformer, just right click and find your deformation here. Right click on this and now let us see the vantage points that we need them to be. So I'm just going to follow. So with this, I'm just going to run through it fast. And if there's anything that I need to tweak, I just can. Right. So let us just click this. The funny thing is I've recorded this video like 3 times and there's always a problem that I need to start the video again. Wonderful. Never new content creation with this stuff. Okay, so as I just did, I made a mistake and so that you don't make that mistake. Whenever you are creating a deformer, right? Make sure you come to the tool property. If you are creating a deformer that you don't plan on closing, that's no problem. But if you plan on closing that deformer, make sure you have the envelope mode turned on. That way you can close it. So right now, whatever I did, I cannot close it. Right, so I have to start over again. Making sure I have my envelope mode checked. So now that's no over again. Now I can close it. Alright, so now we are just going to move the handle to try and get the line in the middle, right? So one thing is if you move the handle just like this, it affects the other part. So once I'm moving this, it's going to affect the other part, right? So in order to avoid that, if you want to move just one part, hold down the alternate key, then you click and drag till you find that suitable spot that you want. So I'm going to do that for the rest. And I always like to let my handle be a little bit taller. That way I have a lot of room when I'm editing. Alright, so let's just test it out. Make sure your animation of camera. You don't need to animate that part. Okay. So I think that's good. So we move to the next. So I'm just gonna cut this display and take it to wherever I need to. I think today we'll have something for the next. So let me just check all the windows created. So I think we have to do this. I'm gonna set everything up. I'm gonna start my three. First one display. Bring that display back. So I'm gonna just purchase everything. So I just selected everything I'm using to show all selected deformers. I can tell. Alright, so I think we have it for everything. But unfortunately, you see, when we created the hand substitution, it kind of affected the other part, so we didn't need to create it again. Unfortunately for this one, it doesn't translate. The format does not translate. So as you can see, the format only show up on the other side. So what we are going to do is I'm going to copy and paste special. So for example, there's three information. I'm going to copy paste special. So that's Control B. Make sure place new column can reuse everything. Drawing. So I'm going to paste it. It is always between the drawing and the peg, right? So once that is there, let me take it to display off. Let me show everything. As you can see, it's going to affect it. And now you do not have to put the deformation again for that one. So I'm going to be doing the same for the other side. Now the upper arm control, face pressure, lower arm control, face pressure. Going to do the same thing for the back to the upper part. So make sure you're doing face pressure, not normal face. That will not work. Control, face pressure. And make sure you're using the right deformation for the right part. master, copy, paste it. But the name is just a bit too long. You can always reduce it. So now let me turn everything on and test. Alright, so I think we have it. Just for a couple of stuff that we didn't play before myself. Let me try everything else. So if leave the back, yes, I don't think we play before myself first. Alright, we didn't that. I'm gonna find that. If you need it. So that's the back of the key. Yeah. So I think I've completed all the display. Okay. So we just have there's a display on the let me take that one out. I do not need this display there. Alright, so we're just going to create the information for this. So once that is done, I'm going to use this display, copy it, set up this here for E. So now we have the deformation. And make sure everything is selected. Now we have the deformation. And quick one, not to forget, we have something behind it. So you have to create a deformation for it if you haven't. I've already created that. Alright, so in the next video, with the nose, I think we are going to add the deformation, right? So what I'm going to do is, because of this line, if we add the deformation and we try to skew it, it's going to be a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this line, or better yet, let it just be this way first. This will be easier for my deformation. So I'm going to add the deformation to the nose. Just in case. You might not need it, but it never hurts to have it. So just the nose. And deformation now. So we just using the 2 point. So gradually we are almost getting to the part that we will be doing our poses and recording the poses, right? So for the master controllers and everything, so we're going to record the poses. We're going to take the characters in those poses and record them so that the computer knows where or how the characters position when you move or something like that. And the mouse is gonna take a long while, so we're going to dedicate a whole video probably just for the rigging of the mouse. Because you need to create a couple of shapes. Because you need to create the mouse for the side view, for the for the side, for the front, maybe to further. And within that, you need to take the mouse when he taps you, and then when he starts, and maybe in the neutral state. So the mouse is going to take a while. Alright, so let me just take this display of this off of it. And always try, when you're done, try and go to your timeline and arrange it properly. You don't want it to be too crowded, but we are not done. We're still going to be almost done. Alright, so I think that will be it for now. We'll continue in the next video.